and welcome to one of my absolute favorite shows of the entire year. Ask Dan Anything. For the next 2 hours, no question is off limits. Let me rephrase that. Most questions are not off limits. If you get a little too personal, I reserve the right not to answer. You know exactly what I'm talking about, you pervs. No asking me for my social security number. No asking me for my email password, things like that. But beyond that, it doesn't have to be about politics. It doesn't have to be about current events. It doesn't have to be about anything. It could be from my personal life. It can be about Dave's personal life. I'd be more than happy to answer about my producer's personal life by simply making stuff up. As always, we want you to text. We want you to call. And especially today, our phone lines are open. AdventNows.com talk and text line is 414-799-1130. Already the questions starting to come in. Also on 1-800-838-9476. That's our toll-free talk and text line. At Dan O'Donnell Show on Twitter/X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. And we are streaming live at YouTube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, where you can watch the show live. And trust me, you're going to want to, because I'm sure for those of you watching our live stream via the Dan O'Cam, the number one question you have is, what the heck are you wearing, Dan? The answer, a Santa Claus tracksuit, courtesy of my mother-in-law, an early Christmas present from, I believe, TJ Maxx. Here, let me show you the back. I got to show you the back. For all of us watching on the Dan O'Cam, check that out. Yeah, it's Santa in sunglasses. Give it a thumbs up. Check out the special edition Dan O'Donnell Santa tracksuit live on the Dan O'Cam right now. So we will take questions from Facebook, from Twitter, via text, via the phones. This is actually the one day a year that producer Dave works as hard as a normal call screener. We don't take a whole lot of phone calls on the Dan O'Donnell Show because we've got to move so quickly. But today we are trying to take as many as humanly possible. The very first question is, it comes from Don via Facebook. Will some states decide not to put Donald Trump on the presidential ballot? Don, one state already has. Breaking late last night, Colorado's Supreme Court voted 4-3 to bar Trump from the ballot using a, shall we say, loose interpretation of the 14th Amendment's insurrection clause. That comes in Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. It's a ban on anyone who has committed an insurrection or rebellion against the United States, and that bars anyone who does so from holding, quote, any office, civil or military, under the United States. Now, this 4-3 ruling, of course, was all four Democrats on the Colorado Supreme Court voting to essentially disenfranchise 1.3 million Trump voters from 2020 and potentially more. Now, Colorado wasn't an especially close state. Biden won it 55% to 41%, but let's say that it was in 2024. Just for the sake of arguments, let's say Colorado was the deciding state. And let's say Trump is not allowed to be on the ballot. If that were to be the case, then 4 judges, not millions of voters in Colorado and tens of millions across the country, would ultimately decide the next presidential election. Does that sound like democracy at all? Democracy, it seems, doesn't die in darkness, as the Washington Post terrified us into believing for 4 years of the Trump presidency. It dies in the Colorado Supreme Court. So to answer your question, Don, yes, that absolutely is going to happen. Clifford in West Dallas with a similar question. Merry Christmas, Clifford, and welcome to Ask Dan Anything.
Merry Christmas. I was going to ask you a very similar question. I'm actually, kind of change it a little bit. Do you think this is going to create uprest, or will people just give up and lose hope in the American ideal?
No. Absolutely not. I think there's already been such a significant backlash. You have a whole lot of leftists, Clifford, already coming out on social media almost as soon as this decision was reached, saying, hey, justices, maybe this wasn't the best thing in the world. I think more people than we realize, Clifford, can see through this. I mean, Trump faces, do you know how many charges Trump faces right now? We've never charged a president in the history of this country. Never. Not once. Do you know how many charges he currently faces?
Wasn't it like 90?
It's 91. Do you know? That's very good. Very good, Clifford. You are up on current events. I love it. Do you know how many are specifically related to insurrection or incitement? Zero. The insurrection and incitement to insurrection and rebellion, it's technically called, specifically codified, prohibited under 18 U.S. Code 2383. Trump has never been convicted under 18 U.S. Code 2383. He's never even been charged. So you tell me how exactly four justices can just kind of say, well, we believe what he did constitutes an insurrection. Well, shouldn't there be a conviction under the specific insurrection statute first? Doesn't matter. What I think is going to happen is the United States Supreme Court is going to step in very quickly, quicker than you might think, and strike this down. It'll overturn this ruling to dissuade other states that might actually have a bearing on deciding the presidential election from doing so. To borrow a phrase that the left would understand, democracy depends on it. By the way, this is the subject of my most recent column out this morning at McIverInstitute.com. We'll get it on social media very, very quickly. But right now you can go to McIverInstitute.com. It's called Democracy Dies in the Colorado Supreme Court. Let's go to, I've got some fun ones. Let's go to Tom in Stoughton. Welcome to Ask Dan Anything, and Merry Christmas.
Hi, Dan. I had the question, do you know what the correct biblical time of Messiah's birth is?
So I can only go by when they would have done a census in Rome. I believe it's sometime in June, correct?
No, that's not a very good biblical account.
Okay.
But if you go to the Gospel of Luke, it starts out by talking about Zechariah, the priest at the time, and he was of the family priestly order of Abijah, and Abijah would serve approximately at the middle of July to the end of July.
Huh.
And so Zechariah was told that he and his wife Elizabeth would conceive a child, and so it would be approximately August when he would return home. And so Zechariah's son John the Baptist would be conceived in August, and then 6 months later, Mary was told that she would conceive a child, and that would be approximately in January. So then 9 months after January, it's in September.
Where did you learn this, Tom? This is fascinating. I'm sorry to interrupt. I am like hanging on every word. Is this your own independent Bible study?
Oh, well, yes, it is. But there's a lot of information in the Bible that actually confirms what I'm saying. I could give you more details, but But the neat thing is that in September, there's a special biblical feast called the Festival of Tabernacles. And it's celebrated for 8 days, and it usually occurs near the end of September. And so the Festival of Tabernacles is a reminder that the Yahweh Elohi, the Lord God of the Old Testament, tabernacled with Israel in the desert. And so the festival celebrates that, the eternal tabernacling with his people. But one of the promises of Emmanuel, God with us, is that he would tabernacle with his people.
Wow.
And so he was born. He was born on the festival.
Tom, I tell you, I've got so many questions. I do need to cut you off. I could seriously listen to you talk about this. Oh, that is fascinating. So we're talking like mid-September. I've got a good buddy who was born on September 15th. And this is really bad news for me because now he can say he, like Jesus, is God's gift to the world. Let's get some questions via text here. I want to go hard with this question right away, even though it might be too far. Oh boy. I didn't pre-screen this one. It just came in a second ago. How long do we get to keep you on the radio? AKA, how far out is your contract? I don't want to know how much you make, but I enjoy your show and when you fill in for Belling's sabbatical in the winter months and hope it's going to continue for many years to come. I can happily say that it is. I'm, of course, not going to get into any specific details about my contract situation. It's actually up tomorrow, so this will be the last Dan O'Donnell. No, I'm just kidding. It is my intention, and it's the intention of iHeartMedia Milwaukee to continue this incredible partnership for many, many years to come. Sorry, lefties in Wisconsin. You're not getting rid of me that easily. I have a local politics question. This is a good one from Al in Muskego. Why do left-of-center people claim to be conservatives when running for office, but once elected, they govern from the left? I talk about this all the time, Al. It's because conservative ideas are the ones that resonate with the biggest number of people. This country is fundamentally conservative. We just have an intellectual establishment, an educational establishment, an entertainment and news establishment that are all geared towards getting you to think like a lefty. In other words, pulling the wool over your eyes. And the biggest way that they do this, and that they have been doing this really since it's really ramped up. I mean, they've always sort of done it. You can kind of trace it back to the era of Reagan, where they were trying to terrify people. Reagan, the idiot cowboy, is going to get us all killed in a nuclear holocaust with the Soviet Union because of his ridiculous Star Wars nonsense. Then, of course, it was Bush's Hitler, the Obama era dividing people by race. And then, of course, Trump became this new mutant super Hitler who's so dangerous we can't even afford to allow the people to vote for him. So that terrifies a number of people. But when you think about, in terms of this country, the number of people who actually believe leftist neo-Marxist ideas, it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 20%. And among those over the age of 25 with fully formed brains, the human brain, remember, doesn't fully form until 25. Democrats' most loyal constituency, voters aged 18 to 25. I don't make the rules. Lefties follow the science. This is neuroscience. I just go by voting trends and follow the science. If you take that group out, it's even less. So what you'll have is people who don't really believe in conservative ideals. And a lot of times, especially in local politics, what happens is leftists tend to be more vocal, more forceful, more radical on school boards, on county boards, in mayor's offices. And a lot of conservatives who do politics and sit on these boards as part-time members tend to be the ones who are go along to get along. And they're constantly getting pushed from the left to go farther and farther to the left. Ultimately, though, they understand that to get elected, so some are insidiously preying upon people's innate conservatism and lying to voters. Others start out as conservatives and just get nudged ever so slightly over and over and over to the left. Let's go to Kelly in Fond du Lac. You're on the Dan O'Donnell Show. How you doing, Kelly? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well. Quick question. As a Catholic, how do we respond to all the stuff this Pope's saying and doing?
Boy.
Yeah. How much time do you have?
Follow God. Follow the Bible. Understand that the Pope is fallible and can be wrong. That the Pope, like every other fallible human being, is susceptible to left-wing ideology, the seduction of left-wing ideology. I mean, I look at the Pope. I went to Marquette University, and that's run by the Jesuits. There is no more left-wing a group of Catholic dudes than the Jesuit order of priests, okay? So you kind of say, okay, Jesuits, whatever you say, Bible says this, but all right. Understand, to me, and this is going to get me in trouble with my fellow Catholics, the Pope is fallible. The Pope is, and has always been, throughout the history of the papacy, a political actor. Okay? He's just as much the head of state of the Vatican state and wields political power and influence as much as he wields power and influence over the church. So that would be my suggestion. Let's go to Oh, here's a good question from the DanoCam about the DanoCam. Dan, why don't you look at the DanoCam? Are you too busy gazing into the beautiful eyes of producer Dave? That is correct. The reason I don't is if I'm looking straight at the camera, I tend to play to the camera. So I set it up as exactly how Rush Limbaugh did. If you're watching the DanoCam right now, I don't exactly sit straight. So this is me looking straight at the DanoCam. And I would be very focused on keeping my head straight up and not moving around a lot, because when you look right at a camera, and I do TV, you can't move around like I do because it's very distracting. However, if the camera is not facing you, it's not quite as distracting as if I'm looking to you and bobbing my head and weaving like, a punch-drunk boxer. I realize I'm like, this Giants quarterback, Tommy DeVito, the Italian sensation. I talk with my hands more than the entire DeVito family, okay? I am 50% Sicilian, and my hand movements are 125% Sicilian. So that's why, and it also was distracting. It also was impacting my ability to do the radio show the way I wanted to. So that's why. We're going to step aside for a break. Get me more questions. Ask Dan Anything returns after this.
Holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth.
Hello, commercial customers. This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center, and it's end of the year tax planning season. We've continued to work hard sourcing over 400 of the best GM, Hino, and Isuzu commercial trucks from all over the country. Most are ready to go, and some are ready for your custom upfit. The best part? All of our trucks qualify for the Section 179 tax deduction for 2023. Now, I know you're busy running your business, but we've made it easy. Go to lynchtruckcenter.com, select your truck, and click on the green button on each truck page to instantly see potential tax savings. For example, if you buy a $50,000 truck at a 22% tax rate, you'll get $11,000 in potential tax savings. You can deduct 100% of the purchase price from your 2023 taxes. Essentially, the truck will only cost you $39,000. Remember, we are in the truck business, not accountants. So, be sure to verify these tax savings with your tax professional. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com today. We won't disappoint you.
Extra cash? Coming right up. Happy Money is letting you in on a happier way to elevate your savings with an incredible certificate offered by Alliant Credit Union. Smart, bold, and straightforward. Alliant offers a 12-month certificate with 5.25 APY annual percentage yield with a low minimum deposit of $1,000. Funds are insured up to $250,000. Best of all, anyone can apply to join. Elevate your savings today. Visit happymoney.com/Alliant. That's ALLIANT. The APY is accurate as of the 11/1/2023 dividend declaration date. Early withdrawal penalties do apply. Fees may reduce earnings on the account. Any monthly withdrawals or transfers reduce earnings.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Milwaukee attorneys. 111 East Kilbourne Avenue, Suite 1650, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53202.
Extra cash? Coming right up. Happy Money is letting you in on a happier way to elevate your savings with an incredible certificate offered by Alliant Credit Union. Smart, bold, and straightforward. Alliant offers a 12-month certificate with 5.25 APY annual percentage yield with a low minimum deposit of $1,000. Funds are insured up to $250,000. Best of all, anyone can apply to join. Elevate your savings today. Visit happymoney.com/Alliant. That's ALLIANT. The APY is accurate as of the 11/1/2023 dividend declaration date. Early withdrawal penalties do apply. Fees may reduce earnings on the account. Any monthly withdrawals or transfers reduce earnings.
Traveling for the holidays? Well, Pure Talk has you covered because they just added international roaming to over 30 countries. And here's the best part. There's no rate increase at all. Now, Pure Talk still saves the average family almost $1,000 a year with talk and text and data plans starting at just $20 a month.
Now, from your cell phone, just dial pound 250, say the keyword save now, make the switch, and do it now. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Pound 250, keyword save now, and start saving on your wireless right now.
And welcome back to Ask Dan Anything, one of my favorite shows of the entire year, where we literally will answer any question posed to us within reason, of course. Had a couple of jokers ask for my social security number. LOL, Dan, just kidding. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Here's another one. How do you avoid letting the libs' idiotic and childish arguments and insults get to you? We actually turned them into a segment. I call it Classy Responses from Classy Listeners, or Classy Responses from Classy People. We put very high-class music behind it. I read their childish arguments in British accent, and we have some fun with it. Whenever someone is being immature and childish, actually, I also, if they come in via text or Facebook, I'll ask them if they want to come on and debate me, because, you know, I'm so stupid and moronic and whatever else it is that they're saying. There are a couple of dudes who text constantly. One of them calls me Baghdad Karen for some reason. It's so weird. He can text, but we've actually, because we can see all your phone numbers, and we've tried calling multiple times. I've had producer Dave call up and say, hey, Baghdad Karen would really like to debate you. His phone doesn't seem to accept calls. It's weird. It rings and rings and rings and then goes to voicemail. There's another guy, I believe he calls himself Freddie Eddie or Eddie Steady or Steady Freddie, something like that. Again, we want. I mean, I think it would be endlessly hilarious. I mean, to have these guys on. It's weird. We have never won. Actually, we did once, and it somewhat backfired. It was an insane anti-Semite who I immediately regretted putting on the air. I didn't think, it's like there's a difference between being anti-Semitic and being like really anti-Semitic. Like, I'm worried that you might, if given the chance, do something. But I thought it was important to, and I let him go and said, look, this is the sort of anti-Semitism that's out there in America, even though we might not want to admit that it is. But this other guy who just posts insults constantly, I mean, he listens to the show constantly. His phone doesn't seem to work when it comes to actually debating. It's weird how that sort of thing happens. Let's go to Scott up next. This is, Larry on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Larry from Sussex. You're up next. How you doing?
Great, Dan. Love your show, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too, sir.
My question is, when can we expect you to put the mayor of Oak Creek as the unhinged liberal of the day on?
I actually like Steve quite a bit. I got to know him, Steve Scafidi, on WTMJ. He's opposite this show. I actually got to know him after the Sikh temple shooting. I was there on the scene. He was, the mayor of Oak Creek at the time. I always got along with him. I am told he occasionally will say on his show not particularly kind things about this program, i.e., if you want to listen to squawking, that's up the dial. I mean, sure, Okay, I don't know about squawking. Logical arguments and entertainment is also up the dial, but that's none of my business. No, I've always liked Steve and always will. Let's go to now Scott, up next on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hey, Dan, Scott here. I've seen a whole bunch of younger people who have no sort of like assets or nest egg. What sort of retirement assets and investments should a person have by the age of 30?
I'm not an investment guy. It's going to depend on how much you make, Scott, and what your retirement goals are. And I swear I didn't intend to turn this into an advertisement, but I will. Annex Wealth Management does an absolutely incredible job of sitting down with you. I actually just sat down with one of their guys, Mike, to talk about some money I had to move around and some investment strategies. They're incredible. I would strongly recommend sitting down there. They'll go through your portfolio, all of your assets, your income, all of that, and set both short-term and long-term goals for you. They really are. I don't just endorse them and do the podcast with Dave Spano. I really do believe in the incredible work they do and believe that everyone should be working with a financial planner. The team at Annex is absolutely spectacular. I would refer you to them, Scott, annexwealth.com. Let's go to another YouTube question. This one from Winston, who says, this is the first time I've seen Dan notice the chat here on YouTube. Today was a good day. Winston, I always notice the chat. However, we have many, 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 many more listeners on radio than are watching on YouTube. So it's also been just a very busy time. Normally, I'll actually get in the chat and respond to people. I love doing it. I have so much fun doing it. This week with getting ready for the kids' Christmas special has been just a lot of stuff. But his question, Dan, have you ever thought about making YouTube shorts so that we can show our liberal friends and family a clip of you making a great point? Yes, Winston, that is coming in the new year, I promise. We, frankly, need to get somebody to do it. And I need to train a producer to do it. There just aren't as many hours in the day as I would like to be able to develop that. I want to have at least 3 or 4 YouTube shorts. I do videos for McIver Institute once a week. They are produced and they are put together. In fact, today I'm going to be working on one, the 5 biggest lies told about Israel. So that's going to be up at the McIver Institute probably by the end of the day. But yes, that is coming. So stay tuned. We just need more producers on this show. So I guess if you want to come work for we're going to get a flood of applications. I would love it. We have a parody song singer and the very talented Michael Bruno. He's a great music producer. I would love to have people producing parody stuff, more singers, more producers, researchers. Problem is budget, of course. We need to be able to pay you folks. More Ask Dan Anything coming up next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at Mander Collision and Glass. I talk all the time about how Mander is your best decision after a collision or for windshield repair. But here's customer Sarah, who writes, I went to Mander Glass in Muskego after getting a large crack in my windshield. They were able to get me in for an appointment quickly, and they were able to replace my windshield in just a few hours. The end result looks great. Very happy with the service and friendliness of the staff. Would recommend. Thanks so much for sharing that, Sarah. And in fact, I just had almost the exact same experience with Mander Glass myself. I got a small crack, which turned into a large crack, and the team at Mander took care of me with the professional and courteous service that you can only get from a family-owned business like Mander. Sarah and I know what you should too. Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
We wish we could send you a Christmas card this year. But truth is, we've been pretty busy. So have you.
It seems to happen at this time every year, now even more so than Christmases past. And as we become more and more distracted, the busier and busier we get.
So here's our Christmas wish for you. Stop. Take a breath. Look around you. See all the pretty lights?
Look up. See the stars that guided the wise men?
Look at your loved ones. Aren't they something?
We get so wrapped up in the noise, we forget that Christmas is all about peace.
It's so easy to get lost in the holiday hullabaloo.
So please, every now and then, just stop.
Breathe.
Smile.
Pray.
And remember why we celebrate this season.
That's our Christmas card to you.
Merry Christmas from our family at Penny Mustard Furnishings.
Oh yeah, and Happy New Year too.
Looking for lab-grown diamonds? Robert Hack Diamonds sells them at crazy prices. How about 2-carat total weight diamond studs for $999? Robert Hack Diamonds can get any size, shape, or clarity in natural or lab-grown diamonds. Don't buy until you call Robert Hack Diamonds. $999 for a 2-carat pair of diamond studs. Wow! Robert Hack Diamonds. 2 locations, in Greenfield at 76th and Layton, and in Brookfield at 146th and Greenfield Avenue. Wow them this holiday at Robert Hack Diamonds.
Merry Christmas. I'm Dan O'Donnell. It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management. And we welcome and say Merry Christmas to Dave Spano, the president and CEO of Annex.
Yeah, to you as well, Dan, and all of our listeners, for sure. It's been a great year. And of course, most people have missed this, but the NASDAQ was up over 40% for the year, and the S&P 500 up 24%. And this all happened, Dan, in the midst of the Fed raising rates extensively.
And that has really been the tide that's risen all ships. And now the Federal Reserve is signaling additional rate cuts in 2024. As we close out this year, what can we expect, especially in the early going of next?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So we do know that we're at the end of the rate hiking season, and now we're going to see this pivot and likely rate cuts as we head into the presidential election. And so the market's going to try to digest all of these big gains that we saw here in 2023. But as you point out, what do we expect in early 24? You know as well as anyone that we're going to have 2 primaries, one in Iowa and one in New Hampshire, leading up to Super Tuesday. And that often causes volatility, especially when it looks like the incumbent may be unseated. So as we head into 2024, make sure that your portfolio is aligned correctly with all the facts and circumstances that we know today.
And the best way to do that is to head online to annexwealth.com and get a free portfolio review. It's a wealth metric, and it helps you know what you own, why you own it at annexwealth.com. Once again, Dave, I just want to say thank you for another great year of doing this segment of a podcast. Merry Christmas to your family and wonderful staff at Annex. For Dave Spano, President and CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell, saying thanks for listening to This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
With so many mesothelioma lawyers, how do you choose the right firm for you and your family? I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, and here's my advice to you. Do your research. Results matter. Reputation matters. Last year alone, our team recovered over $1 billion for our clients. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call us now, as the time to file a claim may be limited.
Call 800-602-2200. That's 800-602-2200. Call now.
Jay Trudell from Kitchen Creators here. Christmas is coming fast. The smell of Mom's Christmas cookies being baked, Grandma's chicken and dumplings, my other grandma's beef roast. All those good smells coming from those kitchens that we would find so out of date today. It just doesn't matter this time of year. It's Christmas. Good smells, good food, family, and the birth of the King of Kings. Remember to tell your children all about this special child that God gave the world this Christmas, like my mom and dad did with me. From all of us at Kitchen Creators, have a blessed and very Merry Christmas.
Want to know how to get the same cell coverage for up to half the cost? Well, instead of spending a fortune building and maintaining their own cell phone towers, Consumer Cellular just pays to use the same towers as the largest carriers and passes the savings on to you. Pretty smart, huh? Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 5 GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, conservative thought, not just talk. And one day a year, you can ask Dan anything, such as this question from David in Oconomowoc. Dan, what is a conspiracy theory that you believe is actually true? That Michael Jordan didn't retire from basketball in 1993, that he was actually suspended for gambling, but it would be such a massive scandal and destroy the NBA that David Stern allowed him to pretend that he was going to retire and play baseball until his suspension is up. Coming up in just 2 days, it's the Dan O'Donnell Show Family Christmas Special, and I can't wait to share incredible performances from the children of our listener families like this one. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the Beaversdorfs.
Oh, come, little children, oh, come, one and all, to Bethlehem haste, to the manger so small. God's Son for a gift has been sent you this night, to be your Redeemer, your joy and delight. From heaven above to earth I come, to bear good news to every home. Glad tidings of great joy I bring, where love I now will say and sing. Worth 1,000 times as fair, and set with gold and jewels rare. It would be far too poor and small, a widow for the Lord of all.
Wonderful, wonderful full performance from the Beaversdorfs. They sing a whole lot better than apparently I speak. Hi, Dan. Joel from Shorewood. A serious question. What are your thoughts on toll roads in Wisconsin and using the revenue to lower the gas tax? I am vehemently opposed to toll roads. The infrastructure alone, I think, makes them not feasible. Also, I just despise open road tolling. I hate driving to Illinois because of it. I believe firmly that the Department of Transportation can, instead of increasing usage fees on drivers, simply have its budget lowered by reducing the astronomical costs of road building projects. Here's a fun question also from Joe. Any major New Year's traditions in the O'Donnell household? Feel free to answer either question or both. Merry Christmas. Do you want to know what the biggest tradition is? We always have a New Year's party, and every single year, my wife opposes the idea of having a New Year's party, but ultimately we always have a New Year's party. She says, we just recovered from Christmas. Can't people go to somebody else's house for New Year's? And the answer is no. Apparently, our family and friends come over to our house for New Year's. And here's another one. Here's another New Year's tradition that I have. It's got to be at least 10 years now. I have said after the New Year's party, I'm going to get up early and do the polar bear plunge. Every year I sleep until like 11 a.m. on New Year's Day. So those are my fun New Year's traditions. Here's a related one. Dan, I have never heard you lose an argument. Does that also apply at home? It's actually kind of amazing. I'm like the Detroit Pistons of losing arguments to my wife. I've lost like 24 straight. Is that how many the Pistons have lost in a row? She's like the Harlem Globetrotters. I'm like the Washington Generals when it comes to arguments at my house. So no, it's not the same. Let's go to Dave in Spring Grove. I know a lot of people have this question. Merry Christmas, Dave. Welcome to Ask Dan Anything.
Well, thanks, Dan. I live in the Forbidden Zone. You know, I've been listening to you guys forever. Mm-hmm. And I hate this time of year because you guys sign off at sunset, and I can't get you until sunrise.
It's not powering down, or it's not signing off. It's called powering down. So you probably aren't able to get our signal anymore. We don't totally sign off. It's not like,
My question is, WBBM in Chicago went to an FM station. Can you guys do that? That would help.
We are on an FM. Are we on 97.3 HD channel 2? If you have no idea how to get that, neither do I. I personally would love to broadcast in FM. I think my voice sounds a lot sexier in FM. The reason we have to power down is because of signal interference. If stations didn't, at night you wouldn't be able to hear any radio station because they'd all just be jumbled together because they'd be bleeding through on other signals, which is actually a lot of fun if you do, especially in the winter. If you just turn on to a random station during the day that you would get static, at night sometimes you can get radio stations from as far away. I think I've gotten one from Alabama. I've gotten stations from St. Louis. I've gotten KMOX in St. Louis, a station in Florida at one point. So that's why we have to do it. Let's... Hi, Dan. Did you ever broadcast at Mike Zimmerman's house? He's the owner of The Rock, who apparently doesn't think that ordinances apply to him out in Franklin. And I said I was going to broadcast the Dan O'Donnell Show at 9 p.m. on a random Thursday at exactly the decibel level that he's pumping through to neighbors' houses from Milwaukee Milkman games and other various events at The Rock. I didn't, primarily because I guarantee the powers that be in Franklin would just be itching. They don't in Milwaukee County accept basically any referrals to the Milwaukee County Jail. How much do you think on a noise ordinance violation they would want to jail Dan O'Donnell? Do you think? I mean, you would have John Chisholm and the chief judge of the Milwaukee County Circuit Court, is it still Maxine White? They would personally sign off on keeping me in jail for that. Dave says we could sell mugshots just like Trump. Yeah, we could be like Kamala Harris and have a bail fund to get me out. I'm sure I've got a lot of supporters in the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Department. Somebody would slip me a Comrex unit like baked in a cake, like the Beagle Boys from DuckTales, and I'd be able to broadcast right from a jail cell. It would be fun. It would be fun. I did this to sort of put pressure on Zimmerman. I also said I was going to broadcast outside of Steve Taylor's house. Did you see the update on that? Shocker. County executive Steve Taylor, he wishes. He has apparently never disclosed that while he is advocating for The Rock, he's working for The Rock. This is a massive, and I mean massive, ethical lapse. It's Milwaukee County, so who knows what's going to happen, but that's kind of crazy. Let's go to Rich in New Berlin. How you doing, Rich? You're on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
I'm doing well, Dan. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you too, sir.
So I'm curious as to how your Uncle Steve is. I think I know the answer. Is he with the Lord or is he still with us?
No, Uncle Steve. Steve, I probably could go back and look at my phone in my office, and Uncle Steve has texted 3 times.
You know, it's funny because I used to see him at the gym before COVID. He would come in and he would sit at the table and he would talk all about you, Dan. And show me pictures of family things. So, and he'd always tell, I retired from the Waukesha Sheriff, and he would always say, if anything's going on, here's Dan's number.
God. He's giving out my cell phone? Rich!
He just said he could get a hold of you.
No. I know. Rich, no. He moved out right around COVID. He remarried after, he married, and he lives in the Random Lake area, and it's just difficult for him to come down every day. In fact, I saw him. We went out to lunch last week. He's doing great. I'm going to see him at Christmas. As you know, in the O'Donnell Lamponi household, we have like 7 straight days of Christmas. I think 2 or 3 3 of those days, Uncle Steve and Sharon come with us. I will tell him if he's not listening right now, Rich, you say hi. But no, he is very much alive. He is very much, has he called you, producer Dave, in a while to say that you absolutely need to tell Dan something because he's not answering? He'll first call my cell phone. I'll be like, Steve, you can hear me talking on the radio. You know I can't answer the phone call. He'll then text me. He'll say, Dan, why aren't you answering? And then he'll call producer Dave. Little known fact. He's apparently a regular caller. I did not know this. He revealed this to me. He is a regular caller to our sports station, 97.3 The Game. He is Steve from Random Lake, I guess. So if you ever hear him, that's my uncle. He is, I love him so dearly. He is about as big a character as you could ever imagine. It's my mom's older brother. He's my godfather, and he is... There will never be another like Uncle Steve. Let me just put it to you that way. Thank you so much for that question, Rich. That made my day. More questions answered next.
How's your money feeling? It's about to feel happier with a certificate from Happy Money's partner, Alliant Credit Union. Elevate and increase your savings with 12-month terms and only $1,000 minimum. And the happiest part? Alliant certificates yield 5.25% APY annual percentage yields. Now that's a happier side of money. Elevate your savings. Go to happymoney.com/Alliant. That's ALLIANT. Funds insured up to $250,000 by NCUA. The APY is accurate as of the 11/1/2023 dividend declaration date. Early withdrawal penalties do apply. Fees may reduce earnings on the account. Any monthly withdrawals or transfers reduce earnings.
This is Wisconsin running back Braylon Allen, and I drive Holiday. Team Holiday's caring culture makes fans of drivers from all over the Badger State, and I'm one of them. You can count on their genuine guest care and no pressure. It's real.
Add more joy to your holiday season and connect to the road in a new all-wheel drive Mazda from Holiday in Fond du Lac. Well-qualified buyers say yes to enticing offers like 0% 5-year financing on the versatile and invigorating Mazda CX-5. And enjoy no payments for 90 days on the full lineup of new Mazdas. Navigate today's car market confidently and experience the genuine award-winning guest care of Wisconsin's #1 Mazda dealer and the Badger State's only recipient of the prestigious Mazda President's Club Award. Explore all that's new, find yours, and discover the difference during the Season of Inspiration sales event at Holiday Mazda Fond du Lac and holidaymazda.com.
It's worth the trip.
It was a doozy, all right. Apparently, things got a little out of hand, as evidenced by the job description.
Repair heel marks on conference table.
You get the picture. Office party, a few too many drinks, and a gal who felt compelled to use the top of the conference table as a dance floor. And as you expected, we showed up on site and made that tabletop as good as new. By golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. Well, if you haven't heard me bragging by now, we're darn good. Actually, my dad has no qualms about saying we're the best. And if you're skeptical, I understand. But all you have to do is go to MullallyFinishing.com to learn why we're great at what we do and see lots of before and after photos that show off our impressive work. So if you're looking for a name you can trust, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who is experiencing shoulder, hip, or knee pain and a total joint replacement may be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
We asked people why they sold their homes to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent.
We needed to sell Mom's home quickly and with a company we could rely on.
No showings, no closing costs, no staging, no real estate agent fees, no added stress.
Whether you have a hard-to-sell home, want a stress-free sale, or simply need to sell your home fast, Grandview Homes is the name you know and the name you can trust. Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
Huge year-end savings! Huge year-end savings! Thielman Group Heating and Cooling is so proud to be your local hometown partner for the last 95 years. In honor of this, we are offering thousands of dollars off our already great pricing through the end of the year. And you can also take advantage of additional rebates and tax credits up to $6,095. Don't need new equipment? Contact us about our secret Santa tune-up offer. Contact Thielman Group Heating and Cooling today at thielmangroup.com. That's Thielman with 2 N's group.com. We don't do things the easy way. We do them the Thielman way.
Losing sleep lately? The job, the house, the headlines, or investments? How about the feeling your investment partner isn't a partner at all? They might be operating in someone's best interest, but that someone isn't you. It's time for Annex Wealth Management. It's easy. Head to annexwealth.com, click the Get Started button. We work in your best interest as a fiduciary. That commitment runs so deep, we put it in writing. Does your advisor do that? Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Start at annexwealth.com.
With so many mesothelioma lawyers, how do you choose the right firm for you and your family? I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, and here's my advice to you. Do your research. Results matter. Reputation matters. Last year alone, our team recovered over $1 billion for our clients. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call us now as the time to file a claim may be limited.
Call 800-602-2200. That's 800-602-2200. Call now.
Merry Christmas from the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Here's a great question for Ask Dan Anything. It comes from our YouTube stream via the Dan O'Cam. A reminder, I am in fact wearing a Santa Claus tracksuit. If you'd like to see it, here, look it. We're showing people the back. Yeah, check that out. We got Santa Claus giving a thumbs up on the back of my tracksuit. Great gift from my mother-in-law. Here's a good question. Is there any element of the Colorado case kicking Trump off the ballot that's not crazy? No. Every single part of it is insane. That's why I would refer you to my latest at the McIver Institute, McIverInstitute.com. Democracy dies in the Colorado Supreme Court. Mike in St. Francis, you're on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hi, Merry Christmas, and thanks for taking my call. A little lighthearted here, but will the Milwaukee Bucks wear red and green uniforms on Christmas Day? And if the WNBA ever comes to Milwaukee, can they name the team the Buckettes?
I mean, they'd probably be the Does, right? I mean, I would go with Milwaukee Does, but that would be me. They better wear red and green on Christmas. My favorite jersey that I have is a red and green Oscar Robertson, which I absolutely love. Let's get to some... Dan, what the heck is happening in Wauwatosa? We're going to do some lightning round questions. Oh, boy, I'm actually not going to do some lightning round questions because we've only got a couple of minutes left. What the heck is happening in Wauwatosa? Gym emptying fights at the basketball game last night again. Yes, at halftime between the Wauwatosa East and Wauwatosa West basketball games at West. Massive brawl between a couple of girls that turned into the entire stands emptying. The initial reports that came into the Wauwatosa Police Department were of the potential of shots fired at the game. Apparently, multiple people said they saw multiple people flashing guns. That led in, I've got the video posted at Dan O'Donnell Show on Twitter, X, also Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, of the entire crowd just spilling out of the stands. It's because someone was yelling, "There's a gun, there's a gun." This gets to when calls start coming into police dispatch. It gets into, okay, maybe somebody fired a gun. Fortunately, that did not happen. A big fight between girls turned into a fight between multiple people. What's going on in Wauwatosa? They tolerate this stuff. They have not had a culture of consequences for years, and this is what happens. Here's what happens when you listen to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We give you Christmas gifts, like a pair of tickets to Jordan Peterson coming to the Riverside Theater. We'll take caller number 7, lucky number 7, right now at 414-799-1130 gets a special Christmas gift, 2 tickets to see Jordan Peterson, March 10th, 2024 at the Riverside Theater. I almost certainly will be there because I am a huge fan. My wife is a massive fan of Jordan Peterson, and you can go for free if you are caller number 7 right now. I've got a great question to lead off the 10 o'clock hour. Does anyone ever offer you constructive criticism from your family? Yeah, everyone, all the time. We'll be right back.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. Chaos during a basketball game at Wauwatosa West High School last night. During the school's matchup with Tosa East, police responded to the report of a firearm being displayed during a fight at halftime. Video taken during the intermission shows people running from the stands and out the doors of the gymnasium. 2 students at the game, Anna Marie Luna and Stella Gallion, tell Fox 6 News what they witnessed.
It went from one fight to 5 different fights, and then people were outside. And then there was a loud noise, and everybody ran out of the door, and everybody ran out of the building.
4 students were arrested for disorderly conduct. Police say no shots were fired, no weapons were found, and there were no reported injuries. Months after the money to pay them was budgeted, UW system employees get their pay raises. A legislative committee voted 5-1 yesterday to approve 6% pay hikes for some 35,000 employees. UW officials reached agreement with Republicans to pause diversity, equity, and inclusion in exchange for $800 million, promising that Republicans will do an in-depth review of DEI and state government. Assembly Speaker Robin Vos said, "Stay tuned." The Colorado Supreme Court ruled yesterday former President Donald Trump isn't an eligible presidential candidate in the state because of the 14th Amendment's insurrectionist ban. The 4-3 ruling will be placed on hold pending Trump's appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard after defeating the San Antonio Spurs last night, the Bucks next host the Orlando Magic tomorrow night. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at the Lynch family of dealerships. As we close out another year and the holiday season is in full swing, the Lynch family of dealerships would like me to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a prosperous New Year. Thank you to each and every one of the customers who have supported and patronized the Lynch family of dealerships. Lynch Ford of Mugwanago, Lynch Chevrolet of Mugwanago, Lynch Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Mugwanago, Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha, the Lynch GM Superstore of Burlington, and Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend. Whether you're looking for a newer used vehicle or servicing your current vehicle, the Lynch family has you covered. With Lynch Protected Used Vehicles, you'll receive peace of mind and a 3-month, 3,000-mile certified warranty. Your paint, windshield, and tires are covered. One of the many reasons I choose Lynch. Find them online at shoplynch.com.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
A few clouds to kick off the day, but sunshine breaks through in the midday and into the afternoon. High today near 42 with a light breeze. Overnight tonight will stay in the low 30s, and from there get into the mid 40s tomorrow with a chance for rain. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Saturn Lounge, a full-service marketing agency.
Jay Weber here saying, if your marketing campaign has gone stale, check out SaturnLounge.com. The Saturn Lounge team will create a fresh and engaging marketing plan for you that's dialed into your company's needs. If it's time to produce results, go to SaturnLounge.com and let them tell the world your story. SaturnLounge.com.
Want even more fantasy action? I'm Dan O'Donnell, and I want to introduce you to Pick Six, brand new fantasy app from my friends at DraftKings, a leader in daily fantasy sports. $50 back in Pick Six credits if your first pick set loses for new customers. Just select a player and choose if he's going to have more or less of a stat and play against others. Download the DraftKings Pick Six app now and get started with code GREATESTPICK. New customers can get up to $50 back in Pick Six credit if your first pick set loses. Only on DraftKings Pick Six with code GREATESTPICK. The crown is yours. One offer per first-time DraftKings product customer. First qualifying pick set winnings less entry entry fees must generate negative number. Max reward up to $50 equal to amount of negative number. Issued in non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits valid for Pick 6 use only, expire after 1 year. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus. Valid only where DraftKings Pick 6 operates. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com.
Business owners, is your advertising a little stale? Are you looking for some new ideas to spark your sales? Then check out SaturnLounge.com. It's a group of very talented people who years ago you would have had to go to Chicago or New York to find. Jim Colhart and his teams create fresh and engaging marketing for their clients every day, and so their marketing plan will be personalized to you and dialed into your company's needs. If you're looking for a long-term relationship with a partner who will produce results, it's time to talk to Saturn Lounge and let them tell the world your story. Check out SaturnLounge.com.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credits you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is, with complete confidence, stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
You've heard the buzz about IT jobs in cybersecurity and AI, right? Why not prepare for a career in these fields and take advantage of the high demand? You could enjoy a more rewarding and recession-resistant lifestyle. Train in just a few short months at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Already in IT? Skill up for positions employers need to fill. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. That's mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
You love her twice as much today as the day you married her, right?
Welcome to Kessler's.
Be sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
The Badgers are back Friday against Chicago State. Pre-game at 6, tip at 7 on Milwaukee's home for the Badgers. 97.3 The Game.
Show where no question, rather almost no question, is off limits. 414-799-1130 is our AdventNows.com talk and text line. 1-800-838-9476. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com. At Dan O'Donnell Show on Twitter/X. Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. We are trying to get to as many questions as humanly possible. A reminder, coming up in 2 days, the premiere of the Dan O'Donnell Show Family Christmas Special, starring incredibly talented families like this one. Here are the La Violette family.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. For the fields we go, laughing all the way. Ha, ha, ha. Bells on bobcats ring. making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Very good job, kids. That was Lauren, who's 16, Derek on trumpet, Lauren and Spencer, who's 9, were singing, and Derek, the 14-year-old La Violette, accompanying on trumpet. Their dad, Dave, says, thank you for putting together such a great show every day and a truly special one for Christmas. Merry Christmas. Sincerely, the La Violette family. Merry Christmas to you. Let's get some questions from Twitter/X. I have been neglecting that. Dan, what was your favorite Christmas gift growing up? That one's easy. I got rollerblades when I was in 5th grade. So what would that make me? 11, 12, somewhere in there. It was the Christmas, and you folks probably remember it, in the mid-1990s, where it was like 65 degrees on Christmas Day. And rollerblades were all the rage that year. And all my buddies had rollerblades, and I didn't. And that fall, they'd show me their rollerblades. I can remember my friend Nate was really good at rollerblades. And I said, I want to get rollerblades. And Santa brought rollerblades. And I was so excited. I went to Christmas Mass at St. Mary's Hills Corners. I vividly remember standing outside. It's literally 65 degrees outside. My dad and grandpa are talking about sneaking in a round of golf because Milwaukee County actually opened some of their courses as like a Christmas gift. They were talking about sneaking in a round of golf before we had to go to Grandma and Grandpa's for Christmas dinner. And Grandma O'Donnell looks at Grandpa and says, absolutely not. You need to help me out. Well, between Mass and Christmas dinner, I put on those rollerblades, and we lived on a cul-de-sac it was sort of an odd cul-de-sac. There was like a green space, thing of grass in between it wasn't a modern cul-de-sac, and the road went around. I went around that green little island probably 1,000 times. I was out there for hours. Rollerblades, easily my favorite Christmas gift of all time. Dan, did you always know you wanted to pursue a career in radio? What do you like most about your job? I did. I knew I wanted to do something in broadcasting. I had Whitnall High School. Actually, I took broadcast journalism class with Mrs. Clark and really, really loved doing it. We had to put together a newscast. And of course, I was the anchor, and producer Dave's rolling his eyes in there saying, of course you were. Of course you were. Yeah, I had so much fun doing that. I went to Marquette University. I got involved in MUTV, the Marquette TV station, Marquette Radio. And then when I was a sophomore or junior, I can't remember, 9/11 happened. And I was doing a live show on Marquette Radio with a buddy of mine, Rob Hart, who's now an anchor at WBBM Radio and down in Chicago. And we actually reported live on 9/11. I'm sure nobody was actually listening, but we took it as seriously as possible. I immersed myself in the news. I had never really followed the news before 9/11. I mean, I had, but I was 20 years old. I mean, you're pretty self-focused, grades and girlfriends and friends and all that stuff. And that really changed the focus of my career. It was at that point that I started listening to Rush Limbaugh and Mark Belling and conservative talk radio and really had a political awakening. And it was at that moment I knew. I went to law school because that was sort of always my plan. And I always just assumed at some point broadcasting wouldn't work out and I'd have a career to fall back on in the law. Well, 20 some years later, broadcasting seems to be working out. So yeah, for pretty much my entire adult life, I was hired at another radio station. Well, everybody knows, WTMJ/WKTI. I got an internship there and was hired and was on air about a month into it at like age 19. So literally my entire adult life has been in radio. Related question, Dan, what do you think about the retirement of Jeff Wagner? Jeff is a very, very, very dear friend of mine. I worked with him for more than a decade at WTMJ. I was his producer back when they made him do a Saturday show. I was his news anchor for many years during the weekdays. He is about the nicest, kindest man you would ever want to be. He is exactly how he is on the radio, and I wish him just all the best in retirement because he is just a great human being. He has earned every second of what I could only imagine is going to be a spectacular retirement. Actually, Jeff uttered the phrase that I sort of use as my motto in my career. No, not conservative thought, not just talk. He said, people may recognize you from television, but they know you from radio. And what he meant by that is that you can't do a show like this, you can't do a radio show without sharing a little piece of your soul every time with your audience. And people really do get to know you. Here, for example, here is another question from Twitter of somebody who obviously really does know me. He asks, you work full-time on the radio, do guest spots on TV, do guest speaking engagements, MC Republican events, coach soccer and basketball and baseball, have 3 kids and a wife. How the hell do you have time to go golfing and hang out with the boys? You forgot I also write columns and do videos for the MacIver Institute and occasionally write for the Federalist, National Review, Town Hall, all of them. Honestly, I just make time. I mean, I'm very blessed to have a job. Oh, the other question, what's the best thing you like about your job? Just doing what I love, being passionate about it. I have a job where I'm simultaneously always working and never working. So I don't physically need to be at the station all the time. I do, however, always have to be plugged in, and I suspect I have undiagnosed ADHD because I'm constantly thinking about work. I'm constantly thinking about segments that I'm going to do on the next show, arguments that I'm going to make, current events, even, and this frustrates my wife and kids to no end while I'm talking to them. Last night, my wife was talking about presents or something and gift wrapping and who knows. And I said, oh, just right in the middle of her talking, I figured out how I'm going to do this aspect of the Christmas special. And she said, okay, well, that was an abrupt change of the conversation, but she's used to it after nearly 15 years of marriage and 20 some years of being together. I have a lot of, not free time, but time that I don't have to be at the station. That is, of course, until I start doing 5 hours of radio a day. But even then, it's just about time management. Like, I'll sit down, I'll wake up every morning and say, okay, from this hour to this hour, from this time to this time, I'm doing this. From this time to this time, I'm doing this. Here's when I have to do this. It's just about time budgeting. And also, as you might imagine, I have a whole lot of energy. Let's go to Dane County and talk with Chuck on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome to Ask Dan Anything. Merry Christmas, Chuck.
Merry Christmas to you, and I want to tell you I really appreciate your show. I have a dark question. Do you think if Trump is elected that we're going to go through another George Floyd time in this country where all troops are going to get out and burn all the cities down? I was going to say in Madison, excuse my dog, I was going to say in Madison I would tell the people in the storefronts to start boarding them up about October.
Yeah. Well,
I'll hang up and listen.
I'll tell you why, I think. And it's what lefties do. When they're not happy, they riot. In 2020, you remember cities like Madison, Chicago, they were boarding up windows ahead of the election. It wasn't in the event that Trump lost. It was in the event that Trump won. There were riots during his inauguration. Yeah, the vagina hats all over. I mean, there were rallies to be sure, but a whole lot of leftists. With the way that the crazy wing of the Democrat Party has been riled up over the past 5 years, 7 years, you really think they're not going to riot if the mutant super Hitler Donald Trump wins the presidency? I don't want to joke about this, but honestly, they're so insane. It would be like the Hail Bop cult. What was that? No, you know what? I rescind that. I'm not even going to joke about that. Besides, Democrats don't commit mass suicide. They burn down cities when they're upset. Tom in Fort Atkinson. You're on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Tom, you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Welcome to Ask Dan Anything, sir.
Yes. Hey, Dan, I was wondering if you were ever offered a job for a larger market, would you take it?
No. Absolutely not, unless I could stay here. Honestly, I wouldn't. My entire family is here, Tom. My wife's side of the family, we're all very, very close. All my friends are here. I grew up, how far would you say St. Mary's Hales Corners is from this radio station, Dave? 5 miles? If that? Yeah, Dave says he makes that drive every day. His kids go there, which I'm sorry, I shouldn't. Do not harass producer Dave's kids. I know I've mentioned it multiple times. No, I wouldn't. Okay, I'll take that back. If, let's say, Fox News were to approach me and say, hey, Dan, we want you to take over for Laura Ingraham. Obviously, you have to say yes. But the reality of the broadcast business is that you can do it from literally anywhere. I could set up a studio in my basement and you'd have no idea that I was broadcasting from my basement. In fact, I'm fairly certain Clay and Buck, yeah, they're both at their houses, right? Yeah, Clay's in the basement. Buck is in his den. I forget. Clay was telling us where he broadcasts specifically from. I'm almost certain he's in his basement. I am almost certain he's in his basement. He was telling us this when he was in town. For a radio show, you can do it anywhere. So no, I am never leaving Southeast Wisconsin. I love it way too much here. And frankly, I love WISN, WIBA. I love iHeartMedia way too much. I mean, this company has been incredible to me. I like to think I've made their faith in me worthwhile, and I just love it. The question that I said I was going to lead this hour with, it's an hilarious one. Dan, do your family and friends, like your wife and kids, ever give you pointers or constructive criticism on how to do your show? Yes. Everyone, everywhere, all the time tells me how I can do my show better. I suspect it's of course, it's always out of love, but I have one of those jobs where people are always suggesting. I love it, actually. I do. Who's the best is my father-in-law. My father-in-law will say, Dan, you really got to do this. Dan, hey, how about this? He actually suggested, and I was really strongly considering this as an homage to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. He goes, Dan, the kids do such a beautiful rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. How about instead of closing the show with Silent Night, as we always do, our 3 kids playing that on violin, what if they closed with the Star-Spangled Banner? I said, Bob, that's not a terrible idea. So yes, I always get constructive criticism and suggestions, and I love them. More questions answered next.
While most other furniture finishers restore wood furniture using high-pressure water to remove old lacquer and varnish, we only use a chemical solvent. Because when you use water, it will eventually raise the grain, loosen glue joints, and lift veneer. So if you have something really special that you'd like to restore, call us. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you want your restored antique piece to remain primitive, no problem. Maybe you want to restore it to as good as new condition. We can do that. The way we work is based solely on what your needs are. And that seems to make the process of restoring your unique piece almost always a positive one. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no jobs too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who is experiencing shoulder, hip, or knee pain and a total joint replacement may be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. 800-444-2013 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-444-2013.
Jesus tells us that he will remain with us for all time. This is Archbishop Listecki. It's Advent, and as Catholics, we are spreading the word about the real presence of Jesus Christ. The wonderful way Jesus stays with us is that he gives himself to us in the Eucharist. He is truly present. During Mass, the bread and wine become the body and blood of Christ, and we receive Jesus in communion. So join us at Mass and experience the presence of Jesus in the Eucharist.
With so many mesothelioma lawyers, how do you choose the right firm for you and your family? I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, and here's my advice to you. Do your research. Results matter. Reputation matters. Last year alone, our team recovered over $1 billion for our clients. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call us now, as the time to file a claim may be limited.
Call 800-602-2200. That's 800-602-2200. Call now.
A big anniversary diamond is one twice as big as the one on her engagement ring.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Ask Dan anything. Got a comment here from Colin. He says, Dan, what do you think of liberals? I'll respond to that by saying, Colin, get off your phone and get back to class. It's one of my son's friends. Merry Christmas to you and your great family, Colin. Another couple of questions from YouTube. Did you ever have a chance to work with Jonathan Green? Loved him for years in my younger days. That comes from Northern Nancy. Of course I did, actually. I was Jonathan Green's news guy, along with Phil Cianciola. The big unit, Bill Michaels on the Greenhouse. Love those guys dearly. All three of them just absolutely incredible. I always wanted to fill the Cianciola role. I was like 25 years old. WTMJ wasn't going to hand the reins of their flagship broadcast to some punk kid, even one as intelligent, funny, and handsome as me. John retired in about 2010, 2011. And I still chat with him. In fact, whenever I mention him on the air, I get an email or a text. I'm never sure when he's actually in Wisconsin, but I promise you, John, if you're listening, we're going to get some lunch soon. So yes, Jonathan Green, very, very dear friend of mine. Love him very much. Tom in Milton, you're on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Good morning, Dan. Say, I had two follow-up questions for you. One you answered in a text. The other one is, if Trump gets reelected, will we reactivate the ICE program for deportation?
No. Because there would be immediately lawsuits to stop it. And that's primarily what a lot of the issue is with illegal immigration. It certainly was with the border wall. Leftist groups who want as many illegals in this country as humanly possible. And I maintain there's no logical reason for it other than they know those people coming in or their children are going to vote Democrat. There is literally no other logical reason for it. Okay? They'll sue. So the landowners on which the southern border isn't federal land. Some of it might be, a lot of it isn't. And in order to get a wall put up on that property, you need easements from the landowners. Well, what liberal attorneys and legal groups and dark money special interest groups have come in and done is gone to these landowners, many of whom might say, hey, yeah, I probably do want a big border wall on my land because I don't want people running across my fields at all hours of the day. They'll say, no. You need to do this, and we can get you a huge settlement with the federal government if you do. So they're suing to stop construction of the border wall. They sue to stop any sort of enforcement of border actions. Zero chance we will see deportations. And this is why we see such massive influxes of people coming in, because they know once they're in, Trump might talk a big game, but were there mass deportations during his first term? No. No reason to believe there would be mass deportations in his second term. And frankly, I think you would have the leftists go so insane that you would have, chances are, you'd get someone from ICE or Homeland Security who's more leftist than you might realize and say, no, we're not going to do that. That's one of the biggest problems, not just in the area of border enforcement or immigration enforcement, that Trump faced was just members of his cabinet not doing, or not specifically members of his cabinet, people who worked for him in those various departments just not doing what directives were. And I think you're going to see that upped by about 10 times if Trump is reelected. 90% of the federal workforce are Democrats. Non-military federal workforce, I should specify. What do you think they're going to do? Clearly not what Trump asks. How do you think the college football landscape will change going forward? P.S. It's National Signing Day today. I think you're already seeing what college football is going to look like. There's only really going to be two. We have a Power 5 conferences right now. It's going to be a Power 2. It's, if you're not in the Big Ten, if you're not in the SEC, you're never going to compete for a national title. You're never going to be in you'll be in the tournament, but all of the recruits are only going to go to Big Ten and especially SEC schools. The transfer portal is already radically changing college football, and so is NIL, name, image, and likeness endorsements. It essentially is allowing the rich to get richer. I believe it was the head coach of Nebraska said, look, to get a good quarterback in the transfer portal, it costs you $3 to $5 million a year. So schools with big money boosters, the Alabamas, the LSUs, the Notre Dames of the world, they'll just pay for the best players. And I think in hindsight, NIL is going to create a monopoly on college football championships. You're going to see an ever-widening gap between the very best teams, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Michigans, Ohio States, and, schools that otherwise might have a chance to compete at the very highest level of college football. I think we're right at the precipice of a radical change. Let's see. In reference to the 18, there's one question I looked at. I'm like, nope, not answering that one. A little too personal. Sorry. In reference to the 1849 abortion law, what year was the insurrection law instituted that Colorado is citing to keep Trump off the ballot? That is a fantastic question. They're citing the 14th Amendment. Now, what's wild is that whenever you hear the left talk about the abortion law, they always have to refer to the 1849 law. It couldn't possibly apply today. 14th Amendment was ratified in, I believe, 1868. Is that ever referred to as the 1868 Amendment? Excellent question. We will take more phone calls, more texts coming up next when we return.
From all of us here at the Dan O'Donnell Show,
Merry Christmas.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at the Lynch family of dealerships. As we close out another year and the holiday season is in full swing, the Lynch family of dealerships would like me to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a prosperous New Year. Thank you to each and every one of the customers who have supported and patronized the Lynch family of dealerships. Lynch Ford of Mukwonago, Lynch Chevrolet of Mukwonago, Lynch Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Mukwonago, Chicago, Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha, the Lynch GM Superstore of Burlington, and Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend. Whether you're looking for a new or used vehicle or servicing your current vehicle, the Lynch family has you covered. With Lynch Protected Used Vehicles, you'll receive peace of mind and a 3-month, 3,000-mile certified warranty. Your paint, windshield, and tires are covered. One of the many reasons I choose Lynch. Find them online at shoplynch.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
One of the things I love about Vince and his crew at Engine and Transmission Exchange is how, whether it's a first-time customer or a long-standing one, they applaud the service they get. For example, Sydney says ETE was simply the place that AAA recommended she should tow her car after a breakdown, but now she's hooked. I really enjoyed my experience with ETE, she said in her 5-star review. James is more of a veteran customer and says this is a phenomenal business that truly only fixes what's needed for a reasonable cost. He says, I highly recommend ETE to all of my friends who need car service. It's worth the drive to deal with quality people. Absolutely. Engine and Transmission Exchange is an established, experienced group of people, all working for a family-run business that dates back about 35 years here in southeastern Wisconsin. They have locations on South 27th in Milwaukee and on West Avenue in Waukesha. They get an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and have ASE certified technicians in every field of auto repair. It's a place and a group of people you can absolutely trust with your car or truck. Check out enginetrans.com for details. Enginetrans.com. It's Engine and Transmission Exchange.
Have you ever met someone and thought to yourself, I wish I had met them sooner? That is what we hear over and over again. I wish we had met you sooner. You made what seemed to be an overwhelming process feel easy. Hi, I'm Karen Ellenbecker, founder and senior wealth advisor for the Ellenbecker Investment Group. It is true, investment planning can be daunting. Accounts scattered at several different firms, retirement accounts left behind, marriage, divorce, too much cash on hand. At EIG, we take key concepts surrounding financial planning and we break them down into easy to understand and more manageable steps. Think of us as the "you are here" arrow on a map. We help clients understand where they are, creating a sense of confidence, empowering them to navigate their unique financial map, and making informed decisions. Education and simplification are the keys to a client saying, I wish we had met you sooner. EIG, we are advisors for real life.
I'm Dan Small. Join me and Jeff Kelm for Outdoors Radio, Saturday mornings at 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Brought to you by the Range of Richfield, the ultimate shooting experience on Helson Drive in Richfield and online at therangewi.com.
If you want a fiduciary guiding your financial plan that will treat your assets as if they were their own, go to financialstrategiesinc.com.
Financial strategies, what's the way to build your wealth?
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services and host of the Designer Yard Show. Another landscaping season is in the books, and what a great season it was. I started Seasonal Services 30 years ago, and I enjoy every day. Yes, some days are tough, but we've persevered because of many special people. The Christmas season is a great time to share our appreciation of others. So let me start by thanking our suppliers, clients, and the many builders who trust us with their valued clients. And to those of you who love gardening and nature as much as we do, thanks for listening to the Designer Yard Show every Saturday. Finally, thanks to the entire Seasonal Services team. You arrive early and you go home late. You give your all every day on the hottest days of summer and the coldest days of winter. You appreciate that hard work is rewarding, and for that I give you my admiration and thanks. So on behalf of all of us at Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services, best wishes for 2024.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
You worked hard to build your net worth, but what happens when you leave it behind? Get peace of mind by creating your estate plan with Bogar Law Offices. From simple plans to the complex, Bogar Law Offices has multiple options to help you ensure your legacy is protected. From wills to trusts, power of attorney, probate, and trust administration, we will educate you so that you know your options. A proper estate plan is unique to you and your family. Bogar Law offices in Germantown and Mequon. Call 262-255-4500 or online at bogarlawoffices.com.
Ethan appreciates easy.
So Ethan does his banking with Landmark Credit Union. Earning money on his savings? Landmark makes it easy. Opening a checking account? Easy peasy, Ethan. Landmark is full of people who are easy to work with. We're homeowners, neighbors, and community builders. In fact, Landmark has called southeastern Wisconsin home for all of our 90 years in business. Our branches are easy to find, and our app is easy to use. Landmark Credit Union. Banking made easy. Insured by NCUA.
Shows of the entire year, which is literally just that. You ask, I answer. Nick in West Dallas up next. Welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show, Nick, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you too, Dan. Question for you is, a young college student I know wants to become a lawyer, and I was wondering what are some good conservative law schools, if there are any, that he could go to so he doesn't get brainwashed. I don't want him going to a school with somebody like Lawrence Tribe or anything like that.
Lawrence Tribe, actually at one point, believe it or not, he's a Harvard law professor. He used to be not crazy. It's actually kind of amazing watching how Trump broke his brain in real time over the past 8 years. I am not aware of any expressly conservative law schools. Remember, it's been 20 years since I started law school. I actually went to one of the more liberal in the world, and that's the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And I've talked often about this. I actually thought, Nick, and I took a ton of constitutional law classes because I knew that was going to be the focus, whether it was in broadcasting or the actual practice of law of my career. I thought the best exercise I ever did was, I knew I was a conservative. I knew what I believed, and I did this in college and law school. I wrote a paper making the best argument that a leftist, that a liberal could make, knowing full well I wasn't going to get an A, and I graduated with very high honors at both Marquette and Madison. Yes, that was absolutely an intentional brag, but I did so knowing full well that I had to sound like a liberal in order to get top grades. And I'm sure in the intervening 20 years that that's gotten a whole lot worse on campus, especially if you go to one of those places where you can call for the genocide of Jews and you don't even get a slap on the wrist. But it's also an incredibly effective way at getting better at making your own arguments, at solidifying what you really believe. If you're making the best argument that the left can make, that your political opponent can make, well, then you know right off the bat how to defeat it. Let's go to Waupun and talk to David. You're on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Good morning, Dan. If you were offered a cabinet position by the Biden administration, what position would you take?
Oh, man. Would I be allowed to do whatever I wanted?
Yes.
Let's say yes. It would be Department of Homeland Security. I'd immediately shut down the border. What's going on is an existential threat to the social safety net of this country and also to the very fabric of this country. The left has decided they're just going to import whoever and however many people we can possibly fit in this place. It would be DHS secretary. I'm assuming I'd get removed within the first day, but that would be the one where I would feel like I had the most impact immediately. That would absolutely be the one I take. Here's a question from radio from, of all people, Richard Simmons. It's his picture, but I'm guessing it's not the real Richard Simmons. Dan, what are your thoughts on the future of terrestrial radio? Terrestrial radio is always going to exist. A lot of people think it's not going to. I believe it will. It's not going to be in the form that people think. For example, you're not going to have a dial. It might not even be radio as radio exists, where you're actually getting audio content via terrestrial radio waves. But there will always be a system in place where there is 24-hour-a-day live programming However, just as we've moved in television to a la carte viewing, and when's the last time? Think about it like this. When is the last time that you raced home to be in front of your television set at 8 p.m.? That wasn't for a sporting event. Exactly. Consumer habits have changed and radio along with them. In fact, I dare say, what would you say, Dave? 40% of our listeners listen on the podcast later on? That number might be high. Combined streaming and podcast, I think it's close to 50%. I think a lot of people listen at their convenience, and that is going to be more the future. I think talk radio is going to change in that respect as well. I think you're going to see, because of the nature of attention spans, the 3-hour talk show format kind of condensed down to 2 or even 1, because the podcast format is typically an hour. That's usually what a podcast runs. 43 minutes of commercial. One thing I'll tell you that has to change, the commercial loads in terrestrial radio, it's if there's one thing that's going to kill talk radio, it's commercial loads. And we're aware just as much as you, the consumer, are, when we have 6-7 minute commercial breaks, it A, kills the flow of the show, and B, provides an ample opportunity for listeners to leave and then just never come back. So I actually think the future of radio is going to be something like the past, where we're not going to have pre-recorded commercials anymore. It's going to be more like Paul Harvey. And now, page 2. Rich chocolate Ovaltine, where it's sort of like how podcasts, you just, boom, read a commercial, right back to the content. That's how radio is going to have to adapt. All right, producer Dave says I'm all wrong about this. Yeah. Okay, people get my content on the Dano cam, not the stream. Oh, clearly, yes, clearly. Everybody is, in the future, everybody's going to want to see my beautiful face and, of course, my Santa Claus tracksuit, courtesy of my mother-in-law. Let's see here. We have got my text app. Dan, thanks for your show. Wondering what conservatives can do to stop the left from stealing the next election in Wisconsin. What is it? The price of liberty is eternal vigilance. Is that Franklin, Jefferson? One of them. That would be the best advice I can give you. I promise. If you see something that looks suspicious over the next year, first, email me. Let me know about it. I'll tell you where to go from there. Jim in Janesville, you're on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Good morning, Dan.
How you doing, sir?
I have a question. I'm doing fine, thanks. Hey, I have a question about the U.S. Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the Democrats have an advantage of 51-49, but 3 of the Democrats run and were elected as independents. So my question is, why don't the Republicans have a 49-48-3 advantage?
Because those independents caucus with the Democrats. So the Democrat caucus is bigger than the Republican caucus. So therefore, the Democrat caucus gets to pick the majority leader. If they were conservative-leaning independents and they caucused with Republicans, then Republicans would have the advantage. But it's just a matter of who has the bigger caucus. And as I say that, that sounds really dirty, even though I didn't intend it to. We all know Republicans, on average, have bigger caucuses. What is the last day the Dems could pull Joe Biden as their candidate? It would be the convention. It would literally be the delegates would choose to nominate someone else, believe it or not. And Democrats actually changed the rules. They've got the super delegate system and all of this, where it's much easier for them to just sort of name a random candidate who they want, party bosses, to decide their candidates, and ignoring the will of the people. Weird how the people who are so concerned about the end of democracy don't totally believe in democracy in their own presidential primaries. It would, in fact, be the convention. Let's give away a 4-pack of tickets to the Quick Trip Holiday Showdown. It is a couple of hockey games on Thursday, December 28th, a post-Christmas feast of University of Wisconsin hockey. I believe Minnesota is there as well. You get tickets to 2 games, 2 days of hockey action presented by Quick Trip down at the Fiserv Forum. Is it, Producer Dave? Yeah, Fiserv Forum. And we've got a 4-pack of tickets to give away. Great stocking stuffer. You know what, Dave? Can we give away 2 4-packs of tickets? I'm feeling super generous. I am in the Christmas spirit, ladies and gentlemen. Caller number 15, caller number 17. Both of you will win a 4-pack of tickets to the Quick Trip. What? Yeah, poor caller 16. All right, fine. 3 pairs? All right, 3 pairs. 16 too.
Treat yourself at the River Club of Mequon. The North Shore's premier private club has state-of-the-art facilities in a casual, elegant setting. The management of the River Club is committed to personal service and will give your wedding, corporate outing, or holiday party a spectacular flair like none other. The view from the sunset deck is a one-of-a-kind space, providing an unforgettable experience. Visit riverclubofmequon.com today because you deserve it. Treat yourself. Visit riverclubofmequon.com.
Kessler's has the perfect Christmas gifts for under $115.
Number 1, the Time and Eternity Diamond Pendant empowers you to accomplish the impossible together.
Love has a magnificent, magical kind of energy.
Now imagine that energy.
That magical energy of love.
Captured in a pendant for time and eternity.
It's a symbol that says the two of you will always be connected.
Number 2,
this Christmas is your chance to own a moon and back diamond pendant.
A perfect Valentine's heart cupped inside a crescent moon with the engraved message, I love you to the moon and back.
And Kessler's price of just $48 will send you to the moon with joy.
Number 3,
the life we share is an important diamond pendant that speaks of all the wonderful things that exist because the two of you came together.
3 perfect Christmas gifts for under $115
from one perfect store.
Find the Kessler's Diamonds nearest you
and see our extended holiday hours
at Kessler'sDiamonds.com.
Hey, it's Dan for Pick 6, brand new fantasy app from DraftKings, a leader in daily fantasy sports. And best of all, new customers get up to $50 back in Pick 6 credits if your first pick set loses. Getting started is simple. Just select a player and choose if he's going to have more or less of a stat. Compete against others for big cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and get started with code GREATESTPICK. New customers can get up to $50 back in Pick 6 credit if your first pick set loses. Only on DraftKings Pick 6 with code GREATESTPICK. The crown is yours. One offer per first-time DraftKings product customer. First qualifying pick set winnings less entry fees must generate negative number. Max reward up to $50 equal to amount of negative number. Issued in non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits valid for Pick 6 use only, expire after 1 year. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus. Valid only where DraftKings Pick 6 operates. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Everybody needs an edge. The other guy is working on his edge right now, whether you have one or not. Testosterone levels are at an all-time low historically, and individual T levels in men decline 1% every year with age. There's a new champion of natural testosterone boosters, and it's called CHOQ, C-H-O-Q. 100% natural herbal extracts with game-changing effects on your energy, mood, and focus. CHOQ Daily's main ingredient has been clinically studied to boost testosterone 20% in 90 days. Supercharge your masculinity with higher T and a massive boost of energy by taking CHOQ's Male Vitality Stack every day. Take the 90-day CHOQ Challenge and reap the benefits of the reigning champion of natural men's health with CHOQ's Male Vitality Stack. For a very limited time only, CHOQ, C-H-O-Q, is giving our listeners a 30% discount with promo code USA. That's CHOQ.com, code USA, for 30% off while supplies last.
I've heard it often from business owners. I'd love to advertise, but I don't know where to start. And besides, I'm too busy actually running the company. Then you need Saturn Lounge. Jay Weber here saying, remember SaturnLounge.com. It's a great one-stop marketing shop for any size business, even startups. Saturn's president, Jim Colhart, and his team do everything from content strategy and scripting to graphic design and websites to photography and videography. And what sets them apart for me is that they're genuinely invested in your success. Let Saturn Lounge tell the world your story. Start at SaturnLounge.com.
Attention business owners. Don't forget about Section 179 tax breaks. Write off up to 100% of your truck purchase. As Milwaukee's truck headquarters, Ewald Automotive has the largest selection of heavy-duty vehicles to fit your business needs. Ford, Ram, Chevy, GMC. We've got them all. Plow trucks, work trucks, cargo vans, all job ready. Backed with our low price guarantee with additional savings up to $15,000. Shop now at ewaldcommercialtrucks.com. Consult your CPA for further tax advice. All sales final month end. Example stock number DP212.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Welcome back to Ask Dan Anything. Yes, it would probably be a good idea to avoid downtown right now. If you are, it's probably a good idea to avoid downtown Milwaukee. No, I'm kidding. I don't want this stereotype that us conservatives hate Milwaukee. President Biden is in town, and his motorcade is, I believe, heading downtown. Dave, is that so? If you're listening to me live at 10:53 a.m., where is the motorcade right now? We don't know if he's left, but the president is scheduled to be in town right now. Congratulations to Dan from Muskego, Kent from Clarksville, Tennessee. Wow. Listeners all over the world, and Tom from Shorewood. Our three winners. Producer Dave said, hey, if we're taking caller 15 and 17, why does caller 16 get screwed? So I said, you know what? I'm like Oprah this time of year. You get some hockey tickets. You get some hockey tickets. We just had three winners. Plenty more giveaways coming up tomorrow as well, right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Today is Ask Dan Anything. Megan and Sharon wants to know, did you end up giving your son your car and get a new car? And by extension, is he a good driver? It's actually funny. My son got his driver's license on Monday. And yes, he is a very good driver. I'm actually incredibly proud. Because of that, I waived his driver's test. He's shown over the course of having his temps, he is very conscientious. He is very safe. And this morning, I went to get my car keys. I did get a new car. I got a nicer SUV. Should I say, since I'm going to get the question, I bought a Lexus. I have a Lexus RX 350. It's a great car. I love it. I've always wanted a Lexus. I got one. Okay? All right. So my son got my old Toyota. And I go to get my keys to get my Santa Claus tracksuit out of my Toyota, which I was wearing and had to change to go to a soccer game last weekend. And by the way, I am wearing the Santa Claus tracksuit. So I go in my pocket, get my keys. My Toyota key is gone. My son literally stole the Toyota key from out of my pocket and has basically commandeered my Toyota like he's Long John Silver and took it to go to Southridge Mall last night to buy presents for his family. It was actually very sweet. I was working on the Christmas special all night last night, and my son went and bought Christmas presents, and I came home at about 7 o'clock last night. He's wrapping Christmas presents for his brother and his sister. He's so excited. So to answer your question, yes, I did give him, and actually, yes, we did, for his birthday this year, we did give him the Toyota. It's still in my name, it's still licensed, but he gets to drive it primarily, yes, because he has proven himself to be very responsible and very good. How's your son's guitar playing going? Very well. He never lets us hear him play, but whenever I go into his room, if he's not doing homework or playing video games, he's fiddling around on that guitar. So he's tremendous at that. Although we again, we're not allowed to hear him. A couple of questions from Facebook. Why don't you discuss the ruling in Colorado banning Trump from the ballot there today? I wrote an entire column on it, McIverInstitute.com. Democracy dies in the Colorado Supreme Court. When is our next trip? And are you still going to the same church? I haven't seen you there for a while. Melissa, we are so pleased to be going to Venice and up the Croatian coast on a private tour, a private cruise through Cruise and Tour this June. In fact, I believe there are still a couple of cabins available, but they are going fast. If you've been on the fence about going on this, go to cruise-tour.com. It's going to be a truly mind-blowing trip, and everything, literally everything is included. So you actually get a great value on a 13-day trip to Venice and Croatia and all sorts of amazing ports of call. Cruise-tour.com. As for church, organized sports has taken over my life. Indoor soccer, they have games Sunday mornings, Saturday evenings. It's just very, very difficult to get to church. And that's actually one of my New Year's resolutions. I need to get back to it. Merry Christmas, Dan. My question has 3 parts. What's your proudest moment of 2023? Biggest regret or not so great moment for 2023? And lastly, what is your biggest personal and professional goal for 2024? Last question first. It's to continue to do a program the way I want to do it and have fun doing it and grow this program. That's my biggest goal. Biggest regret of 2023, that there were only so many hours that I could spend doing the things I love. And proudest moment of 2023, honestly, there wasn't just one. There were tons of them, both personal and professional. 2023 has been a spectacular year. And I hope it has been for you. I know for a lot of people it's been tough. There's been loss. There's been war. There's been fighting, all of that. But it's my sincere hope for all of us in 2024 that there is peace, there is contentment, and there is growth. That'll do it for the Ask Dan Anything show. I am going to continue to be answering questions as I have been offline on our talk and text line and Facebook for about the next half hour or so. I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can. Thank you all for sending those questions in. Talk to you tomorrow, and Merry Christmas. It's the Dan O'Donnell Show.